Oh, that was pretty funny. That was a one-man comedy show, Mr. Shane Gutcher. But serious business right now. We're getting into the finals. Game 1, best of 3 here for Cup 11, Go4Heroes Americas. And Tempo Storm and EG, two of the teams in the majors, definitely two of our oldest teams. And
yes,
I'd say, Evil Genius is picking up ZPs as of late. That has really strengthened out their team.
Yeah, and they haven't made any official announcements. You know how EG is about announcements, but they haven't made any official announcements as if he's the, going to be the go-to fifth man. But since they've been in this state of flux, since they've had a unstable roster, I feel like they've been playing better now with him on the roster than they have since that's been going on. So I won't be surprised if he does end up becoming the fifth member, but that's all speculation. We'll see what the future brings for Evil Geniuses and ZP. But we're into this game, Tempo Storm versus Evil Geniuses. This is the finals of the 11th week of Go4Heroes America. It is the two teams I think that both you and I were expecting to see in the finals. There were a couple dark horses that almost made it in here. Actions Per Minute, which is a team who has been playing very, very well, weren't able to knock over the giant beast that is Tempo Storm, but they put up a pretty
came
good
close.
fight.
Yeah, all the way to 17 they held the advantage, but then one team fight in late game has some very dire consequences.
Yeah, and but we're here now in the first game. Enough about what has happened. Let's see what is happening. The draft is already well through, almost into the second round now. Tempo Storm went ahead and banned off the ETC. Evil Geniuses banned off the Rhaegar. I think that's a good ban, as Tempo Storm has been picking Rhaegar as their support this whole entire tournament. Yep. First pick, Witch Doctor from Tempo Storm. The two picks for the first round, Evil Geniuses. They went ahead and picked up Malfurion and Stitches.
Which is, isn't that 100% last game?
Yes. And Tempo Storm retorted with an Uther. And now we're waiting on the third pick from Evil Geniuses right now. Right now, looking at the drafts, the map is Dragonshire, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. There still is the potential for Sergeant Hammer. But obviously, and there it is. Okay, so Evil Geniuses with their third and fourth pick up Tychus and Sergeant Hammer, respectively. Two very strong heroes. They're good at pushing. Tychus is pretty good at being in that mid lane position because he's really good at pushing the wave down. He can rotate down. Sergeant Hammer, I would imagine Sergeant Hammer and Malfurion are going to be bottom lane. With a third, might be Stitches, though I could see Stitches being a solo laner up top. We'll see that laning configuration as the draft gets through here. But right now, Tempo Storm has a very solid lineup. They have their healing support in Uther. They have a good AoE damage through the Tassadar and the Nazeebo. And once again, we're going to see the Asmonon strat followed up with a Murden. So Murden, we've only seen it once before. I believe it was Team Heroes Hype who played him when they also played him with a Sonya. That game didn't go too well for them. But obviously, in the hands of Tempo Storm, we might see a little bit more efficient play out of him. And Arthalon's going to be bringing the dunks, man. Those NBA Jam quotes are going to be coming. They're going to be coming hard. And what is going to be Evil Genius's pickup here? Last time they played into an Asmonon, they went with Double Warrior. And I don't know what other warrior they could possibly pick up here. ETC's banned, and Murden's already picked up.
Arthas.
Maybe Arthas, maybe Diablo. Come on, baby. I've been caught, dude. I've been doing that Diablo hype. I've been doing that Diablo hype so much. I don't know how it will work in this situation, though. I mean, Apocalypse is a very effective tool at dealing with Witch Doctor. It's not that he received buffs. They basically fixed and smoothed out his animations on his dunk and charge, and that effectively made him a more effective hero. Yep. And I've been hearing from multiple sources that people are starting to see more Diablo in scrims between top-level teams. Obviously, I have to be very ambiguous about that because teams don't want to give away any of their secrets. But, I mean, if they are going to go with the Double Warrior, I don't know what else they can go with. You're right. There's the Diablo. They could...
The Mirrodin pickup feels like it was a deny from Tempo Storm. Because that should have been an Illidan slot. They had the Uther, they had the Tassadar. Also, Tempo Storm is Team No Assassin right now. Double Specialist, double Support, and a Mirrodin Agitator. So if you are looking for that protect the hammer comp, you can't do the Rhaegar, you can't do the ETC. You are left for a second frontliner if you want it. We got the Malfurion. Again, this was the same 1-2 punch here from Evil Geniuses.
Oh, yeah.
But they're going to go for a bit more of a crowd control setup.
The other hero I was saying I think we're going to see, and that's Jaina right there, and I actually really like that. One of the big counters to Jaina is hard initiation, and the really only one they have right now is Murden. But if Murden goes a little bit too ham in these team fights, he's just going to get absolutely destroyed. I mean, jumping into a Sergeant Hammer, into a Tychus and an Overkill, all of a sudden you get rooted up by the Malfurion, and you're just going to get picked off easily. They do have a cleanse to fall back on Uther. Obviously, Evil Geniuses doesn't have that, but they have 2 really strong backline, 3 extraordinarily strong backliners that if you don't punish, if they aren't able to punish this Jaina pick effectively, I feel like it's just going to tear them apart, man, in these team fights. Asmodon's going to get snared up and just get torn apart. Muradin is not going to be as mobile as we used to see him. And I really like that Jaina pickup, actually. I think it's going to be an effective tool right now. And we're going to see how they apply it. The map is loading right now. This is game 1 between these 2 very well-known teams, Tempo Storm and Evil Geniuses. This is a best-of-3 for the finals of the ESL Go4Heroes Americas scene, week number 11. Sean, what are your final thoughts? Or what are your final thoughts? What are your first thoughts going into this match right now?
I think the Jaina pickup at the end there with the hammer, 2 really nice long-range heroes that really has nobody here can jump on people from Tempo Storm. Like Nazeebo, pretty immobile until sprint. Same here a little bit with the Uther. The only one that has any kind of leap is the Muradin. So we'll see if, the lockup into the big insta damage from the dunk, from the Ravenous, from the Archon. We'll have to see if that can actually be the burst, but it's weird. Like, this is a game without assassins from Tempo Storm up against, well, basically 2.5. I mean, the Sergeant Hammer counts as half it for sure at this point. So, if Tempo can't crack this, I think Evil Geniuses can just do what they did last time and just play to the map and play to the range because they have a lot of it.
I'm interested to see what build we're going to see from Jaina, as we have seen her more and more often, especially, I mean, when Jaina first came out, Evil Geniuses was the only team who played her. It was a different lineup. It was when Equinox, who we just saw on the Murlocs Inc. Equinox was playing with them, and they had very little success with Jaina. I felt like they were just trying to force the issue. They thought the hero had a lot of potential when the hero first came out. They won like 1 out of the 10 games I saw I casted them with that hero. But obviously there's been a lot of changes to the meta, a lot of nerfs, a lot of buffs all around the board, and I feel like she's in a much better place now than she was before. 4v3, both teams want to push these lanes down as hard as they can so they can run down to the bottom lane and keep pushing that down. Also, Evil Genius, I want to see how they respond to the Asmodon, because they played really well versus Murlocs Inc. However, they don't have that double warrior sustain draft like they had before. What their mindset is on how to deal with the Asmodon.
They still have some really good sustain between the Malfurion, between the Stitches. I mean, Tychus doesn't actually have a second health bar anymore, but he does have the first aid, so does the Hammer.
Same with Hammer. Yep. Same with
so I think they're okay in terms of the sustain, but putting a Hammer top by herself to push up against the Dwarf, I mean, Soldier's basically just going to resort to soaking, but that's also a very big threat for a roaming comp, but we don't really feel the roaming comp here for Tempo Storm. It's definitely a bit more of a roam from EG as they're going, from lane to lane to lane to lane. But the level 1 towns also bring me a little bit of a loop. The double conjures on both sides.
Yeah. One thing, Vala wasn't banned, right?
Nope. It was Rhaegar.
I just realized that.
It was Rhaegar, ETC, and again, like Tempo Storm,
crap.
You don't see games without Assassin. I mean, the only time I've ever really seen games that do that is Haunted Mines, because, it's definitely a little bit less team fight, more about the golem. But here on Dragonshire, having a double specialist, double specialist, triple specialist, we have a lot of specialists here today. It's definitely a new page here in the high meta NA.
That's interesting that Jaina was picked up over Vala. For some reason, I mean, I'm so used to Vala being like picked up or banned in the first round. I didn't even think about that. So Jaina actually being picked up over Vala, and Tempo Storm not putting much priority on here. Priority on her either. Yeah.
When she got picked, I said they're going for the control. I mean, it's literally just control. All the frost, all the stuns. I mean, if we see Water Elemental, it's extra DPS, it's extra chill damage bonuses. If they go Ring of Frost, I mean, that could be absolutely devastating for the comp.
So right now, looking at Arthalon, he is already up to almost 40 stacks on that at 2.5 minutes.
That's ridiculous.
He just kind of walks up to these bushes here in mid lane. He has the length to throw down the Q. Soldier uses his Thunderclap to AoE down the wave.
Is that it for Dreadnought?
Dreadnought, he might be our first blood. Is the grenade there? No. Barely able to live right there. That was a very close call. So right now, they're just letting this letting Arthalon's Asmodon just do what he wants. I mean, they haven't really punished it. They aren't really doing anything about it. I guess they're just going to maybe think of something later on in the game where they're going to be able to deal with it, because they are not focusing too hard on it. I don't know how you can punish in the early game, because you just do what Arthalon's doing. Just sit back there and throw your Qs. You know what I mean? Unless you have like a Kerrigan or something.
And again, we're seeing these bigger synergies. I got to also point out, Idra's actually bullying around Soldier really well. That is not something you see every day either. And that's, again, bigger props here to Idra. Definitely getting more and more comfortable on that Siege tank, even though he's a Zerg player. But, we'll give it to him. There's a good gank coming into the mid. We're looking for LZ to actually pick this up. Glorong with the auto attack at the end. It's going to be enough. Healing Ward's going to go down. They are still looking for this agitation. It looks like they're able to take home the bottom shrine. And Glorong will get out with that dimensional shift on top of all of it as well. But LZ Gamer went for the snowstorms. That's bigger radius on the Jaina. Faye is actually just down here holding down the fort. Now it's actually the reverse. We got double blue streaming here into the mid. Still waiting for the 7s, but there's the double first aid on top of it. Slam build coming out here from ZPs. It's been a very popular, but we'll have to see if 16 will be the Slammer Reno for that Witch Doctor to stun, or if it will be for the Fishing Hook for just trying to play to their advantages.
We're going to see here. So we're at the 4-minute mark. How is Arthlon doing? He's at 70. Okay, so right now, this is the best Asmodon 4-minute mark that I have seen so far out of all. This is the 4th time we've seen it. The last time I saw Arthlon on Asmodon, he was at about 60, and he's already outdoing himself. He's up to 70 already. So right now, this Asmodon is already on his way to just getting absurd amounts of damage on that.
Is just being boss up here. My goodness, Arthlon, yeah.
Wow.
Good coming there by LZ. That extra radius, really just denying him that escape route, and such low hit points on the back of it. I mean, Idra fought off Soldier. Arthlon came up, fought off Arthlon. They finally get themselves a kill on the board, and Idra actually not in a rush to go get that shrine, but we do got the map position because Asmodunk is down.
That's right.
This could be a Juggernaut right here.
Very well played by them right there. I was not expecting Asmodon to get taken down, but they needed to do something about it, and that's what they did. A good rotation in the first blood there at about the 5-minute mark. Faye laying down overkill, using the first aid, and going to keep himself up with the healing totem. Right down here in bottom lane, a wet noodle fight. Dreadnought versus ZP, not much going on there. Soldier is trying to boss around Idra on that Sergeant Hammer, but as you said, Idra has been doing such a phenomenal job at dealing with Soldier. But now he's backed up by Arthlon. Idra has to boost out of there. The lasers on him. First aid's going to keep him up, though, so he's going to get back there, hit the showers with first aid. He's going to be topped up just fine. And Tassadar, I almost caught it. Tassadar getting taken out. LZ Gamer thrown down to Blizzard and a good Ice Lance. He might be going down himself. Nope, outreaching that laser.
Yeah, the
so Evil Geniuses is looking really good right now, man. They have level 10. They are dealing with the roam, or not the roam, but the rotations, which is what this map is all about, very, very well. And they're playing like how they played the last time we saw them, man. Just very precise, very smart. Very, very smart play so far. Now they're going to get, this is a Dragon Knight right here. Yep. So the first Dragon Knight here about the 6-minute mark. The towers are already down mid lane. I don't think they're going to go in for a fort. I think they're going to go down for tier 1 towers in the bottom lane. Possibly maybe rotate up depending on, I won't even need to rotate up. So yeah, they're doing exactly what they did last time we saw this here, Sean.
Well, with that Dragon Knight, I mean, I called it a little bit too early, but hey, they got themselves the kill. They got themselves that positioning. The tank is still up top, pushing as we got, not Faye. Who's actually in the Dragon? Oh, actually, it was Jaina. Where's Jaina?
Yes.
Jaina's into the bottom lane with LZ, and she is attracting a 3-man crowd. 3 suitors lining up for the Dragon, waiting for midnight to hit, and she becomes a beautiful woman. So. Hawaii Rice and Idra has actually pushed down the entire top lane. LZ is still just kind of gallivanting into the bottom, but so many towers going down has put us now into an almost 2-level lead. Well, that's a little bit over just 1 by the end of it all, but we're on our way to the 13 talents, and that is going to be a very interesting story.
And Jaina is absolutely the prime hero to pick up the Dragon Knight by far. So well done that Jaina was in position to pick that up. Obviously, in certain times, whoever can grab it is going to get it. But out of all the heroes that Evil Geniuses has, Jaina is definitely the most optimal hero to pick up that Dragon Knight, as you don't lose too much. And Jaina obviously is known as very squishy and requires a lot of protection. When she's a dragon, you don't need that. Just go ahead, push on down there, get yourself a fort, which is exactly what you're doing. And Evil Geniuses, it's like Idra used to play. This is how Idra used to play StarCraft, man. Just very, very precise. You know, anytime there's an opening, you punish it. You don't overextend. You play to your strengths, and just this is probably some of the cleanest play I've seen out of any team so far right now in Evil Geniuses. However, from what we've seen from Tempo Storm, I feel like every time we've casted Tempo Storm today, Sean, with minor exception, they were always behind in the early game, and then they made it up in the late game. And I want to say that's attributed to the Asmodon, as he just, as the late game goes on, does more and more damage.
Yeah, it's definitely a waiting game. I mean, the early Asmodon is just there as a distraction. He has a really big health pool, so you have to kind of dedicate a lot if you want to really curb him down, and that's going to be a big strength. If you kind of just leave him alone early game, you focus elsewhere, yeah, you're going to get yourself a little bit of an advantage. But late game comes around, if you're not far enough ahead, right now, that level lead is actually shrinking. It's now just barely over the 1 level mark. But here comes EG marching into the bottom. They're looking for the fort. A lot of sprints on the table, I've noticed.
Yep, double sprint on Uther and the Witch Doctor. Oh man, Evil Genius is all clumped up. They just took a huge chunk out of the pool with Arthalon.
Oh wow,
first stage. Procced up there. Well done. Ravenous Spirit going down to LZ. He's going to use that sprint with Tranquility, keeping him alive. ZP is in the thick of it. Glarum is very low. He doesn't have that heal talent yet. Archon is up. He's got to be careful. The Z-Boat does go down. This is looking real good for Evil Genius. ZP landing the hook barely off of the mark. Glarum almost get taken out by Idris R. And they are pushing into this. Taskar's going down. Evil Genius is looking phenomenal right now, John. They are playing so well against this Azmodan. The Azmodan just isn't a factor in these team fights. With the heal over time, the Tranquility, the double first aid, Jaina's really the only big one they can take down. And LZ Gamer had that sprint to get himself out of harm's way, and they blew a lot of cooldowns trying to do so. They weren't able to get down Jaina. Evil Genius just turned it around, and a successful team fight going their way.
There were 2 big things right there. The first was Dreadnought coming right through the back with that sprint. He's like, yeah, man, yeah, I'm going to get this Divine Storm. Gets concussive blasted and devoured.
Beautiful.
Like, absolutely huge tonight. That was the big first gas for that team fight. The second, Water Elemental took home both kills. It killed the Ravenous caster all the way far in the back where nobody was even near him. Thought they had the best position ever. Water Elemental gets the kill, then Water Elemental gets the second kill on top of Glorong. Absolutely phenomenal. That LZ Gamer play at the end. Oh my god. That leads us into a Dragonite here. Level 15 to 14. They're about to hit 16 on the back of this, and I think Tempo Storm knows it, and they do not want to be fighting when they're down a talent tier and there's a Dragonite on the table. So, this is 2 games for 2. Evil Geniuses have been dealing with the Azmodan, and, what are the common picks there? The Stitches, the Hammer, and the Malfurion. Maybe some kind of combo there. That's how you deal with it.
Yeah. Arthalon, even though they've definitely been playing from behind, Arthalon has been doing, oh no, Wire is getting caught up. Does he have Ice Block? He doesn't have Ice Block. He's going to go down. The healing support down, and then that cues the Ravenous Spirit. Now Jaina is going to get taken out. Looks like Evil Geniuses unfortunately pushed their luck a little bit too much. And Tempo Storm absolutely punishes them. Malfurion caught out of position. He did not go Ice Block this game, so he got tore apart. The moment they recognized there was no Tranquility or no heals, I believe it's, KO on the Witch Doctor, popped that Ravenous Spirit. Jaina, they finally got the kill on the Jaina. Now Idris is going to be cleaned up as well. So that is definitely what Tempo Storm was looking for. And like I said, Tempo Storm always seems to be down in the early game, but the later stages of the mid game and in the late game is really when they hit their stride and just turn into that just well-executed, well-oiled machine that we're so used to watching.
So I was curious to see what kind of level 16 talents we're going to see from both sides. And now, of course, the answer is there on the table. Last time we saw actually extra mines at 16 for the Sergeant Hammer. This round, graduating range, definitely a little bit more playing to the strength, especially with the Nexus Frenzy at level 20. The graduating range, of course, will be very good for the Giant Slayer, or the Giant Killer that she has there as well. The extra mines really did look a little weird. But I was also curious, as soon as we saw Gore, just thinking, yeah, it feels like a fishing hook game. And it will actually be the fishing hook. They're not interested in stunning out Nazeebo. And that last fight was actually phenomenal for the Ravenous Spirit. I think it took home all 3 of those early kills, and then they were able to collapse on Idra because it's a siege tank, and she can't really run that far for the fort. So overall, a really nice cleanup for Tempo. They're still in this game. They got their 16s out there as well. Stone Form, Blood for Blood, the Resonation. So the Psionic Slow, that's not second cast.
Okay. Right on, yeah. That's I mean, maybe they feel like they need more snares, because that's something they're really lacking is good lockdown. Like we talked about that before, that's something they were lacking in. And I mean, Muradin has his Q. I mean, Thunderclap is it's a snare, but it's a very short time snare. I mean, Uther has Divine Storm and Stun, but again, that's not reliable to keep people in position. It's nothing that's gonna snare people up and allow your damage dealers to do the damage when you have so many heroes that can get away from a Ravenous Spirit. Dreadnought though is gonna get really low. Soldier's gonna get hooked in there. Ravenous Spirit's going down. Quiet Rice is pretty low. Is he gonna be able to? Okay, so Ravenous Spirit is on cooldown. A little bit of a misplay there from Tempo Storm. I feel like Evil Geniuses definitely has the the advantage here. They're going to be dropping down Soldier. ZP's it very low. Soldier is going up in that avatar, using his first aid ability. ZP so very low. He's got to back up. Tranquility is doing work right now. All 5 members of Evil Geniuses are soaking up the heals from the Demigod Malfurion. They're turning around on his Soldier. Can he get away? He's so very low. Larung is low. Sergeant Hammer is not going to be enough. Faye is just sitting there. Faye's got to be careful, though. She doesn't have that second HP bar like we're so used to seeing. So a lot of cooldowns being used there, Sean. No one actually going down. I feel like Evil Geniuses definitely had the potential of getting themselves a kill or 2 there, but Tempo Storm played a good defensive exit, had a good defensive exit strategy, and were able to get away cleanly.
And it looks like Faye's actually going to be hoofing it all the way top. You see all these arrows heading top. It's like, gotta stop Dragon Knight, gotta stop Dragon Knight. Yep. I'm a little surprised. No kills going down from either side. The Ravenous not taking home a kill. The Malfurion heals are just absolutely fantastic. And then on the back of that, we ate the Malfurion. There goes Faye, finally.
Oh, Faye.
Yeah. And, you know, that wasn't exactly the best target. Definitely should have eaten the gazebo, but, you know, didn't get that opportunity. And overall, yeah, I'm just kind of impressed we didn't have any kills going back and forth. The hook on top of Glorung actually brings brings death very close here to Quiet. The dunk, boom, shakalaka.
Getting dunked on like that, I think you should consider retirement. All right, I used that one already today. Had to use it again, though.
Level 18 and that dunk at the end of it. This is almost going to be guaranteed Dragon here for Tempo Storm because we got 2 dead for Evil Geniuses, and that will be their first Dragon at the 14-minute mark. And this is going to be a devastating push.
It is, man. That 15-minute Dragon Knight, he is all pumped up now, ready to go in there. He's been eating his spinach. And looking at the Asmodon, he is up to 300 extra damage here at the 15-minute mark. Every 5 minutes he gets about 100. Every 5 minutes he gets about 100 damage at that pace, but obviously that rate goes up as he's able to clear waves in 1 hit. So Arthalon, the Asmodon is finally starting to come into effect here now, Sean. It hasn't been in the early game, but now that we're in these late stage, we're officially about to hit the late game. Asmodon's starting to do work, son. So we talked about it before. Tempo Storm always feels like they're behind in the early and mid game, and then they just make up for it in the late game. And once again, we're seeing that coming to play in here right now, man. This bottom fort's dead to rights. They're going to get this down, and that's going to be the only one outer lane fort for Evil Geniuses. Is the fire going to kill it? Oh, there it goes. Down it goes.
You can't hook a Glorung. You can't hook a Soldier. KO's so far in the back. Arthalon in the back there as well. That leaves you with what? Uther, who you don't want to hook either. He comes in, a big Goomba stomp as well. The Mirrodin jumping in. Idra's going to have the thrusters on out. Ravenous is going to get popped, but immediately just dunking down that Malfurion. And again, you know, you're looking at EG, very dominant gameplay early and mid, but very much on the back foot now. We're looking at a level 20 possibility in the next 30 seconds here for the Tempo Storm. And again, the hooks lands on top of Soldier. This is not going to be a kill.
He doesn't have Dwarf Toss. He does not have Dwarf Toss. Oh, my lord, they kill Soldier. No, Soldier is going to be able to Dwarf Toss himself out of there. Narrowly gets away by the skin on his teeth. That last game was completely set up by the... Oh my god, Idra almost died to the Q. Dreadnought's going to get hooked, but Gorge is on cooldown. So yeah, Asmodon is definitely starting to become a huge factor in this right now, man. Did you see... He took away about a third of Idra's HP, and Jaina is going to have to worry so much about these basketballs from Asmodon. They're really going to start putting on the pain. But that last gank onto Malfurion that was so well executed was by a wonderful flank with Dreadnought, where he came up kind of by the eastern Siege Ogres here in the bottom lane, and they sweeped in from the bushes. He got a double Divine Storm and followed up with that Asmodon's basketball. And that really is what set up the push down there. They weren't able to get much out of it, though. They weren't able to get much out of it. There isn't much to fall back on except these bruisers. So not too much reprisal for Tempo Storm to get from that gank. So Evil Geniuses are okay with that, but they really need to hit level 20 because the next Dragon is going to be up, and they still have a good ways to go before they're on that very important talent tier at level 20, man.
Asmodon and other empowered ally attacks and abilities slow movement and attack speed by 40%.
That's so good. Oh man, that's so good.
That is so good. Yeah. Level 20 hype. Tempo Storm. We are still half a level or so away from Evil Geniuses, which means this next team fight is going to be brutal. And we are basically forced into the fight as well because the dragons are up and we are split. EG has Faye bottom lane. And that means that we cannot be engaging this top. The fort is still there, but it's not going to be lasting. Whatsoever. This late game, I mean, we're going to basically just solo it from auto attacks. And you know, we had the Soldier first pick. Idra is so dead.
Oh, no.
He's so gone. And well, a lot of people don't like to play against Stitches, but I feel that Tempo Storm, you know, Uther, Soldier on the Dwarf and then the Tassadar. It's just like, you can hook any of those. We don't care. We got the tools to waste your cooldowns and then engage on that window. It's a great front line.
This is still absolutely anyone's game. I feel like Evil Geniuses now are hitting level 20. They're definitely behind on experience, but we're into that the new stage of the game in the late game where the dynamics of the game just change so much just because of respawn timers coming up, the Dragon Knight being taken here at the 18-minute mark, the Dragon Knight being a just complete boss and just tear apart buildings, tear apart the fort. Asmodon obviously being kind of like a carry. As I mentioned that before, as the game goes on, he kills creep and gets damage from creep. This isn't Dota. What are we talking about?
Yeah,
but he's up to 400. He's up to almost 450 damage right now. And even though Tempo Storm definitely has the momentum going into this, they definitely are on the good foot. Evil Geniuses definitely has the potential to win this game, absolutely. But they definitely need to make something happen here. This keep more than likely is going to be going down, as you can't really contest this late game of a Dragon Knight. Evil Geniuses positioning, they have to get themselves a little more spread out, because if they take too much damage from Arthalon, they can just spell disaster for them. Looks like Tempo Storm, though, they just got their eyes on that middle keep. They're going to be happy with that. They're going to go ahead and exit on out, rotate elsewhere onto the map, and continue to push their advantage.
It is a Nexus Frenzy this round from Idra, so he's definitely going for the graduating range in that. But still, when you have a Dragon on the table and you're very immobile up against the Asmodan, who's hitting now 14 to 1500 damage dunks off. It's almost like, child's play to hit Idra. So the graduating range, I'm not too sure we're going to see too much of it at this point. Dreadnought's actually going to be the big hook target.
They're all going to get stunned. They're all going to get stunned here. You have to be careful. Dreadnought popping the storm shield. Can he go down? He does go down, but he still has the ultimate up. He is a ghost. He's still a factor in this fight. Tempo Storm can still take this fight. Idra managed to live through the Ravenous Spirit, so the gas is getting low for Tempo Storm. Archon is down. Arthalon is having to back away there. Everyone is still up on the side of Evil Geniuses, and that was absolutely an overextension right there from Tempo Storm. That was a phenomenal hook from ZP onto Dreadnought. Idra almost going down there. He's been low this whole entire time. Soldier's going to be going down as well. This is a great opportunity. Evil Geniuses, if they have the wherewithal to just go ahead, run down this bottom lane, and potentially in the game, Arthalon's trying to do what he can to split push. Nope, he's going to Hearth. That was just a good hook, but the follow-up from Tempo Storm was a little bit of a misplay. They thought that they could initiate into the hook and gorge, but they got absolutely punished from it. And very well done by Evil Geniuses. Now they are in control right now, Sean. That's the moment Evil Geniuses is in control. Well done.
Wow, that $1,500 damage. $1,500 just making it rain. This Asmodan raining fire from above. He is totally targeting out Idra right now. They spent so much trying to kill the siege tank, and they didn't get it. In the end, it was slivers of hit points and slivers of hit points. That's the big takeaway from that last fight for me, is that they put so much into killing Idra. And yeah, they had the perfect opportunity. It's like, all right, you got Dreadnought, that's cool. Even if you become a ghost, you still get the stun off. The Ravenous was a perfect position. Yep. And these dunks are just on point. But as you said, a little bit of a misplay in the end of it. Evil Genius is showing that they're not out of it yet. They're still down with the level ever so slightly, but they did get a keep on that as well. So it's equal keep hype, and now they're just going to try to reset a little bit.
This next Dragon Knight is going to be the one that just completely busts this game open. I feel whoever gets this Dragon Knight, they are. I don't know. They're just going to blow him up. Wow. Oh my lord, that was so well done. They even used cleansed on that and everything. I don't know if Dimensional Shift was on cooldown. I can't target Tassadar because he's dead. I'd imagine it was, because I bet Glarong using those Mario Party skills. I don't know if he's old enough, because I'm pretty sure. Anyways, I don't know if he's old enough to remember Mario Party, but I don't know if he's got that Mario Party skill to smash that E fast enough. Apparently he doesn't. Or it was just simply on cooldown. It was probably that. But with that kill on Tassadar, this is going to allow Evil Geniuses to get themselves a 22-minute Dragon Knight. Bottom lane is susceptible to them just going into the core and pushing down the core. Arthalon just half a second too late there. The shot clock, unfortunately, not in his favor this time around. And they're, oh man, this is uncharacteristic of Evil Geniuses from what we've seen today. Normally, they go with a conservative play. Right now, that's not what they're doing. They're sweeping in bottom lane like a broom. They're ready to clean this game up, Sean. And they're going to go for this core. Tassidar's going to be up here in 10 seconds, though. So Tempo Storm absolutely has the potential of having a defense here. And all right, they're just going for it. Here we go. There's Divine Storm on a Quiet Rights and LG Gamer, but not much follow-up there on the floor. Still no hull damage going down. The Dragon Knight is at about 1/4 HP. The Tranquility is doing work, but it doesn't apply to the Dragon Knight. Core down to 80%. This might be it for Tempo Storm. They actually can't be taken out in a match unless they can get a successful defense phase solo. They're just going completely ham on the core, and I think they are going to do it, Sean. Evil Geniuses don't do 2-arc. Don't 2-arc it. They did. Managed to get the core Well played by Evil Geniuses, taking a game off of Tempo Storm, showing that Asmodon, unfortunately, is a little too big to carry.
Old news.
Old news. And that was very well done. I felt like that was set up by that just a little bit of a misplay and overextension by Tempo Storm in that last team fight, where after Dreadnought got hooked and gorged, that they thought that they could counter-initiate. Didn't work out well for them. And Evil Geniuses showing us they got what it takes to bring down Tempo Storm. Congratulations to them. I'm very excited to see the next game.
As I said, some kind of big combo of the Stitches, the Malfurion, and the Siege Tank. I mean, so many of the plays revolved around those three. The Jaina pickup paying itself off in spades. We saw so much big control out of her. She went with the Radius, had the vulnerabilities on the Cone of Cold. It was the Water Elemental. I mean, Water Elemental got several kills throughout the course of that game. Just overall, really fantastic stuff. And Faye, of course, with the Tychas just in the back line, just doing the damage it needs to do. That puts us up now 1-0. Evil Geniuses. That's phenomenal for them, because this is a best-of-3 finals, which means that, of course, we can just take everything into account here. We'll see if Tempo Storm can bring them back for Game 3. But as Medan, man, it can be beaten.
It can indeed. I'm interested to see if they're going to stick with this Asmodon strat. Evil Geniuses looks like they have the number on it, as they have won for the second game in a row versus Asmodon. And I'm going to see what Tempo Storm is going to do. We are going to see, rather, what Tempo Storm is going to do to switch it up, mix it up, or if they feel that they're confident enough in the Asmodon strat, then maybe they just felt they made a little bit too many misplays and ended up throwing that game. So we will see the next game, the next draft, when we come up here.
Yep, so quick break. The teams have started their map striking, so it won't be too long, guys. But game number 2 of this best-of-3 for the Go4Heroes Americas Cup number 11 finals. We'll return with FourCourtJester in just a few.